So runner's knee, what is that? And what cause, more importantly, what causes it? And even more important than that is how the heck do you get rid of it long term? Well, actually, runner's knee is a general blanket term, and it can be from kneecap, it can be from the tendon, lots of things that create pain in the front. So it's not necessarily specific to what tissue it is, but importantly, why does the knee hurt to start with? Well, many times the knee, what's happening with the knee has to do with what's happening below it at the ankle and above it at the hip. So let me explain. So this movement, this is an ankle. So this movement, this is called dorsiflexion, okay? If you don't have this dorsiflexion, as you move over it when you walk, okay, like this, that's dorsiflexion. So every time you take a step, you do this, you step through. That when you're running, when you're walking, whatever, that's dorsiflexion. You move over it smoothly. If you don't have that motion, the common tendency is to turn the foot out. So it would be this. Well, then as you move over it, what that does is causes the knee to fall down and in, okay? Now, why does that matter? Well, because the kneecap, which sits in a groove, so this is the femur, creates a nice groove, and that kneecap has to move up and down in it. Now we want it more or less, it's a bit of an oversimplification, but we want it to stay basically centered. You don't want it sitting on the outside of the groove all the time, right? But the thing is, if as soon as you turn out because of that really stiff ankle, that tendon attaches to the bone, it pulls the kneecap out, and then we're riding on the outside of the groove. Everybody knows what happens with your car. If the alignment's out in your car, it causes the tire to wear asymmetrically. Same exact thing happens with the kneecap, okay? So ankle being mobile is a big issue, okay? The next thing is, above it, the hip, here, if you don't have good hip stability, what happens is, then as you move over it, the knee and the leg is not checked in terms of its ability to fall in. So we fall into what's called valgus. Doesn't matter that you remember that name, but it falls down and in. Well, there's another thing that when that happens, it creates rotation, you load the outside compartment more, and again, you make that kneecap ride the outside of that groove. So it riding on the outside can be because the hip isn't controlling the internal rotation of the hip. It can be because that ankle underneath is causing the knee to drive down and in. It can also be because you've got muscular stuff where the hip isn't mobile. Tensor, some of the quads, some of these things contribute to tension here, which also tends to pull the kneecap sideways. So the end result of all that is like the equivalent of just like alignment behind your car. Wears out the tires prematurely. The same thing with the knee. Lots of times, what you do is you clean up what's happening above it in the hip, core stability, hip stability, ankle mobility, and then you solve the knee problem. So that's how you do it.